It's the best Kiwi event in New Zealand, this.
Crossing New Zealand in 1 or 2 days.
Why do I do it? Because I love it.
3, 2, 1, go!
Well, welcome to the Kathmandu Coast to Coast podcast. This podcast is dedicated to helping you get from the west coast of the South Island all the way to the east coast by running, biking and kayaking across some of New Zealand's most famous routes. This podcast is brought to you by Team CP, your endurance coaching specialists. I am the media man with the mo, aka Angus Petrie. We have got with us our team captain, Richard Greer, who is like a little monkey chewing on a banana.
We're talking all about nutrition tonight. Just done a bit of a bike ride and a run, so I thought I should lead from the front and make sure that we're demonstrating some good nutrition to get underway.
Well, you know, I'm going to see your banana and raise you one delicious 1 square meal bar because, you know, sponsors product.
Oh, good job. You've done well there. You've done well. One of the key issues with nutrition is making sure you don't eat too many bowls of ice cream later in the night. So we'll see how that OSM bar goes and what it may evolve into, and maybe some ice cream on the side with an OSM bar. I'm not sure if that's been done before, but I'm sure there's a first for everything. Well,
speaking of ice cream, I heard a wee rumour that you consume 3 litres a week.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I have to go running, isn't it? Because I have to try and offset that.
Oh, so you're not denying it. Okay, you're not denying. Okay.
Yeah. Moving on.
We are back for our Kathmandu Coast to Coast special, my friend. Who and where and what special guests have we got for tonight?
Yeah, hey, we're like all about nutrition. What are we going to learn? So we want to think about, I guess, with this podcast, it's all about, so what can I learn out of it? So we're going to have a chat to Abby Shaw, who's the OSM nutritionist tonight, just in terms of lots of different types and options of food and what to think about on terms of the different stages of the coast to coast. We're going to talk to Matt Batmen, who is our sort of key person that we're following through his preparation through to race day, and then we're also going to kick off with Hannah Romano.
Richard, I'm not actually sure if you're there or not, to be fair, so let's just bring Hannah in. Hannah, are you there?
Hi, how's it going?
I'm not sure. You might have to tell me. Is Richard frozen at your... Oh, no, look, here he is. The big smiley man's back again. Oh, he's got his eyes shut. Okay, we might just have to move along there for a minute. Oh, Richard has technical difficulties, I tell you. He sure does. How are you, Hannah?
It happens. Yeah, I'm wonderful. Thank you, Angus. How about yourself?
I'm good. Look, we've got a live view coming on here. He's coming down the stairs. Trying to remove him out of the system here.
What a great intro.
What a great intro. I know. It's one of our finest, isn't it? You've been a busy lady, haven't you? You've been busy being a mother.
Hi.
And hi, Richard.
G'day. How's it going
in the studio?
Yeah, exactly. I thought my studio's not working, so I'll go top class and see what the man with the buttons is doing down here.
Welcome to the main studio, my friend. Welcome to the main studio.
You must be the most fastest cyclist and runner I've ever seen. Just changing studios
exactly.
like that.
It's quite windy at the moment. Tailwind. Excellent. So Hannah, you've completed the coast to coast 3 times previously, haven't you? And actually,
yes, I have.
Pretty well. Like, you've been at the top end of the at the pointy end of the 2-day field. And this year you're stepping back into the fray and having another crack at it. But life's a bit different now, isn't it, compared to what it was the last time round with a couple of young boys under 3. You're a PT now, busy with business, and then also some health concerns as well that you're sort of, I guess, just managing as well as part of that. So tell us a little bit about your journey, where you're at now, and what the coast to coast means to you.
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to say long-time listener, first-time caller. Very honoured to be part of this. I love listening to your podcast. It's actually very informative. Yeah, like you said, Richard, I do have a 3-year-old and an 18-month-old. They really rule my life. It's as in I'm making food for them and I'm cleaning up and I'm doing nappies and toilet training. It's quite a busy life, which I didn't think that I would be involved heavily, but that's just what happens, right?
Yeah.
My husband, Romano, plays rugby. He's really away a lot. So solo parenting is kind of like what I'm used to. So now that he's off for preseason, it's quite unusual. It's quite good, but it is
Okay,
unusual.
you've got some time. Yeah, a little bit of time to be able to share kids a little bit.
Absolutely. And like I said, I run my own online business. So 4 years ago, I was pregnant with my first child. I really wanted to utilize my skills and knowledge, and like you learn so much about the human body and the biomechanics, and then I don't just want to give it away. So I wanted to keep going. So I decided that I'd put it all online and make sure that I can train people and educate people, inspire people to exercise through, like laptops and phones and whatnot. So it's going really good. It is really busy. Once again, didn't think it would take over my life, but it has. Yeah. And now I am adventuring into the coast to coast with my amazing teammate Olivia Spencer-Bower. Now, she is no slug when it comes to kayaking. Yep. She is a world canoe polo champion. I think she's on the coast 7 times and only come first, second, or third. So
that's perfect, isn't it?
Yikes.
If you're going to get a teammate, you might have a decent one that you don't have to wait around for too long.
Yeah. So she's going to kill the second day on the kayak, but I'm looking forward to almost doing the coast to coast for me. I have done the coast, yes, 3 times previously, but this is a whole different life. My body shape's different. I've got a lot less time. And I've got different obstacles as well that we all have, but mine is just time. And if my mum comes around, look after the boys, and it's raining, and I've got to go for a bike ride, I can't just go, I'll just skip it today. Like I've got to go.
This afternoon. Yep.
Or else that's it, So unfortunately, I'm getting wet a lot, and I'm just really windy on Southia Road, so I'm getting really windswept as well. But I'm hoping to do the coast to coast to change the perception of it. I think it's kind of known as like the elite, and that's awesome, and that's through no one's fault, through media and whatnot. But I really would like to, get the old mums and the old dads and the people that used to do it but think they can't, get them to do it, because like if you put hard work in, we know we're going to get something out of it, right? So I'm hoping to inspire, all the mums and dads out there that have thought about giving it a go or want to give it a go, to just give it a crack. So it's going to be hard work, but yikes.
But that's great though, isn't it? Just to set yourself a target and just do little steps at a time, be consistent, and look after your body, do what you need to do, be where you need to be, and it becomes a bit of a team effort, doesn't it? And the family need to buy in to that goal, and to be able to do that together. And obviously you've got a pretty supportive family behind you.
I do. Luke's he's very sport-minded, so he understands, like I feel like I'm taking the athlete part, at the moment. So he's the full-time dad and the full-time athlete. It's quite good.
That is good. That is good. So you just roll in, ready for tea. What's for tea tonight?
Pretty much. We had a slow cooker all day. He was on it. He was all over it today.
Fantastic. Definitely points for Luke today. You've recently been diagnosed with Crohn's disease. What is it, and how does it affect you? And how does it affect, because that's, as I say, a recent thing. You didn't have to deal with that last time you did the coast to coast.
So Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, it's an irritable bowel syndrome. So there's no real ticker from your bowel to your brain to know if you need to go to the toilet. And sometimes it's poo, sometimes it's blood. I know you talk about that, but this is my life. So I about 3 years ago, bowel cancer is in my family, so it's kind of the nature of the beast. It skipped a generation, so it skipped my parents, and lucky me, I got it. So it's really, it actually is really hard. And I went to actually pick up my prescription yesterday, and the lovely lady at the pharmacy, she always sees me because I've got so many meds. Like it's a lot of meds that I take, and she's like, "This disease is really awful," and I'm like, "It actually really is." So. For me, I have to try and keep it under control, and so I'm kind of gone through the wholesome approach to food. So I don't buy power bars anymore. I don't buy bliss balls anymore. I make them because I need to know that I'm getting enough protein powder, in my power bars, and enough carbohydrates. I need to know like down to the T, how many chia seeds are my omega-3s, like I need to know what I'm eating to consume. And it does take a while to make all this stuff, but it's really worth it. And I don't really feel like going to the toilet throughout the Goats Pass. And there'd be no toilet there. So, I need to figure out a solution and almost put my best foot forward that I can, because it's a horrible disease, and hopefully I can get some answers and some new medication to help me throughout the next couple of weeks and months. But yeah, it's a horrible thing to go through, and you wouldn't wish your worst or my best friend through it. So yeah, just find a solution, go wholesome, best foot forward, and try and be all over it.
Yeah, good. So in terms of the food that you're eating and race day food, like this is what we're talking about today is nutrition. And I guess you need to have the most pure form of nutrition, or there's certain things you can have and can't have. And it's really about, and I guess is what other people take from this, it's about, I guess, understanding what works and what doesn't, and what feels good and what doesn't. And that goes for all of us as well, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, previously the old Hannah, could run an hour 15 and not even feel like eating, or still have enough energy, and my heart rate was still really good. I was still running great mileage per K. Now it's the first 45 minutes and I have to have a snack, or else my energy goes low, and I've tried to push it out, but it's just not working. So there's a lot more snacks involved now in my packs, but hey, look, if it's just what I have to do to keep the energy up, because I think I know a lot more about my body and, what it needs and what it doesn't need. And I guess that's what's getting older and wiser is all about. But it's still, it's a tricky ball game. And it's a lot of prep, a lot of food making. I can tell you that, Richard.
I can imagine. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. So what's your, obviously that's part of learning about it, but what's one or two key go-to things that you've figured out amongst sort of a longer run that you might use on the coast to coast? Yeah,
so with the run, so the first 45 minutes, I'll have maybe just a quarter of a power bar, which will hopefully get me to the first or second river crossing. From there, I will take my the pure electrolytes I can take, and they're really, really good. So I'll hit that up. I'll probably cross maybe an hour 30, that 90-minute mark. And then a raspberry jam sandwich is what I absolutely love. So I will hit that up.
Brown bread?
Multigrain.
Okay, yeah. And is it going to be rolled up? How are you going to carry your raspberry jam sandwich so it's still good?
Well, I have figured that out, actually. Funny you say that. So I love a good snap lock and container queen. So once you have kids, you've got to have a lot of containers and snap bags. So inside a snap bag, and then inside another one, because you sweat and perspire. So you've got to have it in 2 snap lock bags, tightly sealed, and the raspberry and jam will be folded over, no crust. It takes too much time to eat the crust, and cut in half. So
right, yeah, good. I've almost need a demo. We might need to have a photo of that or something like that. That's really
happy to share. And
it's about the amount of raspberry jam you can get into that sandwich as well. That's key, because you don't want to be a dry jam sandwich.
No, double dip, definitely a couple of scoops on.
Yeah, good. Sorry, I've got held up with the raspberry jam sandwich. Is there anything else that you go for next?
Well, at Dudley's Knob, I used to have a cheeseburger, so I'm going to try that next week when I go and see how that goes. I'm not overly sure. I don't often eat cheeseburgers, but it's really good fat content. So I'll see how we go. Trial and error, right? That's why I want to kind of hit Goats Pass, every once a week now until Christmas, to try and figure out how I can go.
I'll tell you a little cheeseburger story. They're actually good for about 4 or 5 days. Great nutrition value, but when I did God's Own, we actually bought them in I don't know, on the way down to Wanaka, and then we had a couple of days before we started, and then on about day 2 or 3, Georgia dragged them out of the pack in some remote place, and we unwrapped these cheeseburgers and they were just divine.
I'm sure Hannah's gonna use it, make her own though, aren't you, Hannah? You're not gonna drive into a drive-through.
I was potentially gonna make my own, but I mean,
it sounds probably it's gonna be better for you making your own.
You do you, Angus. You're doing a great job.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah, clearly.
So,
Yeah.
so Hannah, as a bit of a parting comment, have you got any sort of key advice you'd give other mums, other dads out there, other people that are going, oh, maybe I should do this? What advice would you give them?
Oh, honestly, just give it a go. And I think in May, I actually could not run 5 kilometers. Like, that's without a word of a lie. I hadn't run in 4 years, so I've been pregnant or breastfeeding for 4 years straight. Like, it's a long time. It's a long thing to do for your body. So I said to Luke, I'm going to run a half marathon. And he was like, well, it's a little bit easy because you just follow people on a track. Why don't you do the coast? So I was like, okay, all right. All right, mate, no problem. You do as well with me. So maybe 1 year. But so then I thought, if anyone can run 5K from May to November and then into the coast to coast, I think if you have the time and the effort and the dedication to do anything, whether it is just the Goat Pass run or doing a 2-day team or doing a tandem, you are more than willing to do the coast to coast. It's not for the elite. It's for the everyday person that can put the time and effort into it. And I know as cliche as that sounds, it honestly is the truth. And, put your best foot forward. What have you got to lose?
Good. Just like that.
A helicopter trip, out just in case. Doesn't matter.
That's not a bad plan B, is it?
And just before we go, Kate Russell's just asked if you could share your power bar recipe. Now, not to take anything away from our next guest, Abby, and their wonderful products that they have, but there are more people. Probably there's a lot of people in your similar boat, Hannah, that but need to know what's going into their items and prefer to do it themselves. So what's the chances that over on Hannah's Instagram that there's going to be some sort of recipe video or something? You're pretty good at those.
I'll be sure to make them. I actually have to make them next Monday. So I'll do a wee video for you, no problem. But it is also a very secret recipe. So you should feel quite privileged for me to share it.
Oh. Okay, right. We might have to pay for that.
Yeah. if there's a blank piece in the middle of the Instagram video, that's the secret item going.
No, happy to share.
Brilliant.
Well done, Hannah.
Thank you very much, Hannah. All the best for your coast to coast venture. There is absolutely no pressure on you at all, by the sound of it.
I know.
And we're already talking to a podium getter here, the way I hear it.
Yeah, exactly. No, fantastic. You've just got to
cut it out.
Well, it's all about your teammate at the end of the day, anyway, isn't it?
Yeah. No, she will get one of the fastest woman kayaking times. I would put money on it. Put money on it. But the other teammate, let's let her do her best.
Yeah,
right.
exactly. 100%.
Cool.
Well
nice.
done, Hannah.
Thanks,
care.
Hannah.
Thanks, heaps.
No, thanks for having me on.
No worries.
Good like that. Job done.
Well, this is a bit bloody cozy in the studio here together, isn't it? Really, this is a bit.
We're making it work, though, aren't we?
We are making it work. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Good.
You've definitely had a bike ride, haven't you?
It's good. It's good. Yeah. So for me, the key takeaway from Hannah's chat is just basically figure out what works for you and actually practice it, plan it, figure it out, know how it feels, and do that. And keep a bit of a diary is a good way to do it as well.
Yeah, and probably for me, it's that whole, it is an event for everybody. It's an event for anybody, everybody and anybody. And there are people that do have, I guess, dietary requirements or difficulties or whatever like that. And that shouldn't be an obstacle to stop you from doing this, Richard. Like Hannah's got, she's found a way around it. She makes her own things and life goes on. So that's
right. And just like in the CP media team tonight, we've found a way around our previous.
Wait, don't go with the hour. Let's not bring us all down to one here. It's a teammate thing. Remember,
we're doing it together.
Anyhow, let's move along. Should we have a chat to Abby?
I think we should. Abby's just as a bit of an intro for a start. Abby's a nutritionist for OSM, just doing some research around and behind the scenes. She's a self-confessed foodie that loves to take the confusion out of nutrition. And for me, nutrition is the most complicated, confusing subject. But on the other hand, it's the simplest as well. So you're meat and 3 veg, etc. And keen to basically have a chat to Abby about what are some different options, what are some ideas that I could use for my race day effectively, and what underpins that and a bit of why.
And even as you say, it's as simple as it can, it's a simple thing, but it is one of the most easiest things to get wrong too.
Oh,
right?
yeah. And all of a sudden, if you're starting to get wrong, you're starting to battle and you're just not enjoying your weekend and your race anymore. So, so we want to do something. So let's have a bit of a chat to Abby and see what she has to say.
Seeing you sharing my studio, would you like to push the button or shall I do that? Okay, I'll do that. Okay.
Hey guys, how you going?
Show.
Oh, thanks for having me on. I feel very honoured. And I do appreciate, Angus, that you're eating an OSM bar. Does it taste delicious?
Absolutely delicious.
He hasn't
Good,
shared.
We'll talk about this afterwards because
not that I don't mind a
too low.
banana, Richard, but
Yeah, any good teammate would share. But we'll carry on. I've still got half a banana left anyway, so get through that as well. Abby, in terms of your role with what is your role with OSM? What do you do as far as being a nutritionist for them?
Yeah, cool. So I came on board with OSM this year. They had just launched this year one of their new products called OSM Everyday Bar, which is really, I mean, OSM were always known for their terrain bar, so their 1 square meal terrain bar. And then they've launched product which is in the line of a nice, healthier version of a muesli bar. So so I came on board with them to work on a capacity of writing some nutrition blogs and just, as you said, simplifying nutrition because I may say myself, I'm a nutritionist and have been for the last 8-9 years, and I still don't know everything, and I don't think I ever will. I mean, nutrition is a crazy field and it keeps changing, and we all have different opinions on certain things. So I like to take the confusion out of nutrition. I think I hope that works for readers of the OSM blog or so forth. So so I helped them launch their bar, and then today I'm kind of working in a capacity for their OSM terrain bar. So they are, I don't know if you've mentioned this tonight, but they are one of the nutrition sponsors, for the next 3 years, which is pretty cool. Yeah,
no, that's great. That's awesome, and good to have those options coming through as well for different things that's been developed as well. That's great. So let's have a look at the coast to coast. There's lots of different elements to it. There's your lead up, and then obviously the different stages. So should we just jump into that and sort of have a bit of a conversation? Just throw some ideas around what we could have. And I guess as part of those ideas, everybody's different, aren't they? So again, just like Hannah was saying, we've got to practice it. We've got to try it. We've got to see if it actually works for us. But let's just maybe go through some ideas. And obviously what works for us also depends on what our goals are as well. So a cheeseburger could be completely fine. But I'm not sure if I'd see some of the front runners having a cheeseburger while they're huffing and puffing their way on the way up to go past. I'm not sure about that.
I don't know if I've ever seen Braden Curry ever do a cheese, but hey, you never know. He might do it after the race too. But it does sound delicious.
There's things happen behind the scenes that we don't know about, isn't it? So the secret.
Totally.
Thanks for Hannah for sharing that. That's good. So let's start off with the first stage. So that's a 2K run, 2.2K run, and then a 55K bike ride. So that's sort of start of the day. It's early. For the longest day at 6 a.m. and for the 2 days it's sort of 7 a.m. ish, and it's going to take a couple of hours. What are some things that we should be thinking about or going with in regards to our nutrition there?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, great question. So I think even before we start the race, I mean, meal prep is key, and a plan, always have a plan and follow that plan. But we've got to look back from the start of the race and think, okay, what am I going to have for breakfast? Say, I would probably recommend clients to have a breakfast 2 to 4 hours before the race. Just so that they, nerves kick in, and so they settle their stomach, and they've got that nutrition on board for that first hour of the race where they shouldn't really be needing some good nutrition. So I suppose if you pull it back before the start of the race, it's getting breakfast right. So
yes, I realised I answered that. That was the right answer to my question of what I should have asked.
That's okay.
And I was also thinking the night before is important as well, isn't it?
Oh, the week before is important. The year before is not. I shouldn't stress. I will say one thing. I did once have a client, obviously won't name names, who came to me 2 weeks before the coast looking for a plan, and I was convinced he was talking about the coast the year away, but no, it was 2 weeks pre. So and I guess this is why it's really cool to be having these conversations now to get in your mind, we need to have a plan, and it's so important that we practice that plan during your training and your preparation for the race. So it's not just the morning of, it's the week, the months before that we're kind of thinking about it. And
Yeah, that's right.
So
And
sorry,
someone
I've gone on a tangent. I do that.
that's right. And I knew this would happen, and this is part of the fun of it. And that's having someone to help you with that plan as well, to develop that and give you some feedback and having some ideas and how much and how often and that sort of thing as well. So give me a couple of ideas for breakfast options.
Cool. Yeah, so the key kind of things for me when I'm working with a client, I'll talk about having a breakfast that's not going to upset your stomach. So in everyday life, right, we love fiber, we love complex carbohydrates, we love good healthy fats and good protein. But come race day, most of the time we want to strip that back and go for something that's got a little bit less fiber in it and a little bit less fat and protein. So I kind of say, like, music can be really good, like your standard music, or a couple of pieces of, or 3 or 4 pieces of white toast with jam or honey, or Nutella works really well. Some breakfast muffins. Or I know that, and I have had clients before that can't really stomach breakfast the morning of. So maybe that's you go for a drink, an electrolyte drink, or you're making up a smoothie. So I mean, the list goes on, but you could, the general rule of thumb is to look less fiber, less of the stuff we know is good for us, but more of the food that's going to help store energy in our muscles so we can use it from the get-go.
Totally. Absolutely. And I guess and then that what we have for breakfast will then the answers of what we're having on that first bike ride will be different. So we have a lighter breakfast. We need to start eating some proper food once we're going and once we're a bit more relaxed and once we're on the bike ride and we're cruising, don't we? So, but if we have a heavier breakfast, actually we probably don't need to eat quite so much as we're into things. So on that bike ride, we've had a good breakfast. We've practiced the time of the day that we're going to have it. We've done a practice race because that's different as well. So what are some options? We're riding our bike. What should we be thinking about and having there?
Yeah, so bike's a really good time to get a decent amount of nutrition in, or nutrition that's going to really work for you. So, so ideas that you could have on the bike could be your gels, your chews. You could go for the OSM terrain bar, and we bite-sized pieces. You could go for white bread, like Hannah, I can multigrain, or ideally white with jam, and don't worry about the crust. You could go for baby food. You could something that's really going to target those muscles straight away. And kind of the general rule of thumb, if we're thinking, and this is a really good thing for people to think about when they're training and practicing and working out their nutrition strategy, is for every hour. So say you've done your first sprint run. You shouldn't need any food. I mean, you're on your bike that first hour, try and get, after half an hour or so, try and get some energy on board. So some people like to eat one thing in that hour. So say that's between, if I'm getting technical, like 60 to 90 grams of carbohydrates, or other.
So on that note, that's a good thing to look at our food labels so we can see how much is in it and figure that out for me. And that's it's a real personal thing. How much can I actually cope with? How much can I absorb? So 60 to 90 grams is a bit of a starting point guideline of carbohydrates per hour that we're looking for.
Absolutely, yeah. And as you said, I memean, that's the key, right? And as Hannah's mentioned, that you might work with 90, someone else might work with 60 grams, and that's all they can tolerate. So it is really key to have that plan and to know what works for you. Sorry.
Good. I was just going to say, let's keep rolling through the race because we want to make sure that we still get to the finish line here. The goal of that first ride is to get off, especially if we're doing it individually, we want to get off the bike and being fresh and ready to go and well fueled for our mountain run, because it's a little bit harder to eat stuff as we're huffing and puffing and running. But what are some things that we could use? What are some options for that mountain run that we should be thinking about?
Yeah. So for the mountain run, obviously, people are quite aware you have to take food on you, so you need to be conscious of that. So for example, when we look at hydration and you're thinking electrolytes, concentrated electrolytes, because you have access to water, so you can top those electrolytes up. You could take the gels, the OSM terrain bar. You could take another thing. And I've never thought about having a cheeseburger, but I used to do on Goat's Pass a bacon buddy at the top, and I loved that. But again, that worked for me and it might not work for someone else. So that was in a white piece of bread smothered in mayonnaise.
And that comes back to your goals again, how fast you're looking to go through. If you're going to be winning the thing, you're going to be puffing too much and you're not going to be able to stomach that. But if you're going to be out there for 6 hours and you've already done a bike ride for a couple of hours, actually you're starting to get hungry by then. You need some proper food as well. So that's good, isn't it? Like a quiche, baked potatoes, all those proper foodie type things that we can have are really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And also a key thing with that too, and I know you and I have talked about that, is actually enjoying your food. I mean, you're doing, if you want to enjoy this race, right? You've worked so hard and put so much effort into it. Why don't you enjoy the food as well? You have the perfect scenery to eat your cheeseburger or whatever you want.
Yeah, no, that's right. And a bit of variety is really important in that as well. To be able to make sure that you actually keep going and you want to eat it, opposed to going, oh God, I don't feel like that. Ginger nuts are my key one. They're robust. They are like bricks, but dunk them in the river and you can actually eat them quite well as well. So that's my tip of the day. Mountain run, let's move on. So we've got some recovery to do for 2 days. So that's getting some food and energy in as soon as we possibly can. What about if we're doing the longest day and all of a sudden we're riding our bike and going to jump in the boat? What are some things we should be doing on that bike ride that's going to take half an hour, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, etc.?
Yeah, well, I suppose jumping back from that, it's utilizing your transition times as well. So having your support crew lay out a bunch of different foods and a variety of foods. Again, on that bike ride, so similar, it's a good time to get food in. You can, like what I used to do when I raced was having on my now brain's frozen. That's the one. Have gels, so I could just rip them off, chug them in my mouth, then put them back into my soup. And think practically about that. Like, what is again, if time's a factor for you, maybe it might not be for some people, but if you want to keep going and do the best you can do on that day and do a good time, practically think about that, or have like Hannah mentioned, and I love that idea. I've never done double Ziplocs, but have a Ziploc bag. And literally have in your Ziploc bag, your 60 to 90 grams of carbohydrates, and you know what that looks like. So when you're tired and fatigued, that's all. You don't have to think too much. Oh, I know my OSM bar has, 80 grams of carbohydrate. Your brain's not going to work that way on race day. So making it easier and, trying to consume.
You can just have that. Yeah, so like with that middle bike ride, I like to think about lunch and having proper food, because you're not puffing so much, you can have that. And as you say, a bit of variety that you can actually enjoy eating it, so you get into the boat in good shape. And then once you're in the boat and thinking through to that final bike ride, it becomes more of what actually I can eat in the boat, because obviously my hands are taken up. Waterproofing becomes an issue there as well. So then your OSM bar comes out as well as another option, doesn't it? And then just making sure you're getting that sports drink and fluid and energy on board, because that's super important.
Yep, absolutely. And testing that, it works before you actually go off. So test your fluid and test, whether or not that's going to come through. And think, play around with it. I've had clients in the past that have used Fortisip, which is a meal replacement, which works really well. Or you could make a pre-made smoothie and have that in your hydration pack, or and mix that with your electrolytes. So work that out for yourself.
That's a foodie thing that's going to make us feel full. So then we're not, because otherwise if we're just drinking or just having sports drink, we're going to start getting hungry. So we can actually drink our food through a straw, which is a nice way to do it. So then we can actually focus on keeping paddling, but then having a bit of variety when we're paddling as well. Maybe we put our paddle down for a bit, but again, it depends on what our goals are and how fast we want to be moving. But if you can drink it through a straw, it means it's hands-free and you can keep going. We're going to bring Angus back in here, because he's the key man that likes to finish things off. And when we get to that final bike ride, that final transition, we've often talked about Sheffield pies towards the end. And as a nutritionist, is that something that we should be or could be thinking about?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
You're correct. Well, no, this, Sheffield pies, if you are watching and listening to this, we're just about to open your doors and fill it full of athletes. But I guess that there's not many people that heading to the coast to coast, but especially in training runs on their way to the coast, well, whether they're going up the gorge to paddle or whether whatever they're doing, everybody stops at the Sheffield Pie Shop, right? It's a rite of passage.
It's not bad to have a pie at 9 a.m. It does set you up for the rest of your paddle world training. But obviously, this is later in the day now, isn't it? Thoughts? Do we put a tick in the pie box, or we put a cross next to it?
Oh, to be honest, go for it. I mean, you've done the coast to coast. You deserve a pie if you feel like a pie. I mean, personally, I don't know. If you feel like it, why not? And like we've talked about in the last few minutes, everyone's different in what their goals are. So if you're a time kind of person, probably flag that pie. You might not have time to wait in the queue, but if you just want to get out there and enjoy it and eat real foods, then 100%. I mean, I don't think I shouldn't say that actually. There's some issues with pies, but every now and then they're fun. And you've just done coast to coast, so you're well and truly have earned it.
And some longest day athletes are going to be coming through at tea time. So actually they should have some proper food so they actually feel sustained and they can get through to the finish line.
But at the end of the day, you get to that point on the bike, and it's actually about what you can actually stomach, right? Because you've already you're well into your day, you're fairly slogged, you've been eating all sorts of things, and it's about at that point that now you're actually at whatever your stomach can handle is what you're actually going to try and put in, and that might be 3 different items you have a go at to try and get to that last bit, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, no, for sure. So, Abby, just to wrap up, sort of one last sort of parting comment in terms of something that you'd like to add and make sure that people take away from your chat tonight?
Yeah. Biggest thing, well, I think you've got to practice, practice, work out what works for you, enjoy the food and celebrate afterwards. You've done an awesome event and it's a huge achievement and you deserve a pie and maybe even a few beers if that's what you feel like.
I've actually just got...
I'm going to get backlash on this, but I don't know.
I've actually just got one question. Can we, in the 2-day, between day 1 and day 2, and we know that it's important that we need to eat when we're finished and then we need to eat can we overeat? Is there a possibility that we're desperate, that we think we need to put calories back in, that we can overeat that night and then actually have that be against us the next morning?
Yeah, I mean, like anyone can overeat. I think it's your timing, right? So when you finish that day 1, it's within what I like to call, you've got a window of opportunity, right? And that's a half an hour window where you need your good quality protein to help with that muscle that you've just broken down and your carbohydrates as well. So if you get that in good time and you're fueling yourself, you're rehydrating, and then you're having a really good meal, 1 or 2 hours later, you shouldn't really feel like overeating if you have done all the things right in the day. But yeah, absolutely you can. So I guess it goes back to eating right throughout the day. And then once you've done that, you shouldn't feel hungry or you shouldn't feel shattered too as well. So Coast to Coast is a nutrition race and there's no doubt about it. So you should really be eating enough for the type of exercise you do and replenishing that. So yeah.
Good stuff. Well done, Abby. That's a great last comment. It's a nutrition-a-thon, and if we can get the nutrition right, then we're going to be able to perform to our potential. So well done. Thank you for your insight tonight, and all the best with hopefully that pie situation doesn't come back.
There's sausage rolls aren't bad either, actually.
I do actually. I live down the road from Feely Pies, so I'll
right.
I'll compete against
the salmon and bacon I recommend from Fairley there.
I'm just going to finish off as Empire over here. And
Abby, thank you so much for your insights. Thank you for telling us all about how we can prepare better and eat right for our journeys. All the best with your journeys, and we look forward to chewing a few more.
OSM bars.
Sponsors.
Well done. Thanks, Abby.
Try the new everyday bar too.
Got it.
Done.
I'm on it.
Sweet.
I'll report
See
back.
You guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Abby. See ya.
Bye.
I think I'm made for this gig.
This nutrition
thing. Like one of Abby's biggest things there is that enjoy the food. Well, it just so happens that I really enjoy food.
Yeah, exactly. And that's part of the reason I do this thing as well. So it works well.
Made for this. All right, moving along. We've roared through this a two lovely ladies have really given us a great insight into some nutrition tonight.
Absolutely. Yep.
But this wouldn't be a coast to coast, a Kathmandu coast to coast show if we didn't catch up with old mate Matt Batmen and see what him and Tomo have been up to.
Yeah, that's right. I've heard that he's been doing some running. We'll find out, shall we?
Now, Matt, just before you go, I just want you to be sure that you know that this isn't the Muppet Show and we aren't the two old guys sitting up in the box.
Oh, we're pulling the strings, eh? What do you reckon?
Yeah.
Good stuff. How you doing, Matt?
Yeah, good, thanks, guys. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Have you still entered? You haven't, your name's still on the start list?
Yeah, no, I'm still there. Haven't been scratched off yet, so I'm still happy, plodding away.
Yeah, fantastic. And what's some of the highlights you've done over the last month? We actually talked to Tomo last time, so we haven't sort of talked to you for a little while. What's been happening?
Well, Tomo's actually just arrived home. She's been on a date, so she hasn't. She's been on a Christmas party. So Tomo, come around. Yeah, she's all dressed up.
Tomo. Hey, welcome.
Well done.
How did your date go?
I didn't go on a date. I just went for work dinner.
Brilliant. So tell us some highlights of training over the last month or two.
Since we caught up you caught up with Tomo last time. We've been out on we've been out doing the kayaking. So we've been out again, and then we're actually going to be going on a gorge trip today, but it was actually cancelled last week because of the weather. And then we've just rescheduled that for just before Christmas, so that's in a couple of weeks' time. Tomo's been getting out in the kayak a bit more, eh? And then we're doing a bit of riding, and then I did the Queenstown half 2 weeks ago, which was good.
Awesome. How'd that go?
It was good, eh? It was a good run. Like it was. I've been carrying a few niggles, I think, because I obviously been doing a lot of other training outside of not only doing the multi-sport stuff, but doing the gym training as well. So I had a couple of niggles. I had a bit of a tweaked neck, and then I had a sore Achilles and an ankle. But I managed to make it through, so I was happy. But it's just starting to get used to having a few niggles here and there. And it's been good, eh? The run was awesome. I had pretty sore legs the next day, but yeah, I actually felt better after I ran the old mountain run last year, to be honest. But
right,
no,
good. Have you worked on your piggyback, Tomo? He's a pretty big unit to try and piggyback for the coast to coast.
I hope I don't have to get to that stage.
Just encourage him to do some rehab. So we've been talking about nutrition tonight. From your experience and as a gym owner, and also your training that you've done last year with the mountain run, and then also the coast to coast this year, what's sort of one or two key things that you would share that's worked really well for you?
Well, like for me, it's quite hard to be honest. Like I burn a lot of calories throughout the day, and I also eat a lot, and I've also got a big sweet tooth, eh? So I've been trying to have no sugar. That's my goal for the next 3 weeks until Christmas. But that's at the moment. So I'm still having like fruits and things, but there's no packeted sugar as such. But I get a bit carried away. But for me, and obviously by burning a lot of calories and that throughout the day, like when I've been doing the longer endurance sort of training, which I'm not used to, I like to wake up at about 10 p.m. at night and I'm like starving, So I'm just trying to get used to eating more, and as I think I'm not really eating enough, but knowing when to eat. And it's hard that sometimes you'll have cravings for different foods, and that's been probably my biggest thing to get used to. Like obviously I eat a lot anyway, but making sure that I'm having enough so I don't feel hungry. And if I know if I'm not eating enough, we're eating right. So now I've been trying to make sure that having snacks and that all the time. When I am doing my training, having fruits and that, but also eating good meals, not going to bed hungry, I guess, or anything like that. So, but yeah, I've been, they're talking about having some bread and jam, but I've been having, sometimes I'll come home and eat 8 bits of toast, so I'm just bloody starving. And then I get a bit of flack with that, so I've stopped putting them up on Instagram.
So eat your protein, fill yourself up, so you can actually fuel your body and repair properly as well. What about you, Tomo? From a nutrition perspective, obviously played some high level hockey, and obviously your training. Any nutrition sort of points that you are sort of working on or thinking about?
It's more, I think, with training. Like I'm really bad at, because what I used to do is always you play games and then you have snacks afterwards. So it's more like when training, actually starting to get a little bit of food or gels or something like that in while actually training. So just practicing that stuff, and even trying to like digest a little bit more like solids, because especially through like those longer runs and stuff, you actually still need a little bit of solids in those runs to actually help you through. You can't just keep trying to go on the gels or something like that, because it's not going to make you last that long.
That's right. And if you're hungry, you're already low, aren't you? So you make sure that you that doesn't get to that level. And if you're having sort of highs and lows and that gel makes you feel really good, actually you're probably already low. So
yeah,
you need to keep up.
yeah. We've been for a couple of runs when it's been blooming hot, you know, and that's been hard, you know. And you're coming in, you're like quenching, you know, your thirsty as, or you know, you can even take out plenty of water. And you know, sometimes I'm like, I'm going for a training run, and it's not going to be hot, but you know, it was warmer last month than it's been in the recent, you know, the last few weeks. And I went for a run one day, and I ended up doing a couple of hours, and I got out to Brighton, and I was thirsty, and I didn't have enough water, and then all the drinking fountains were shut off. You know, I ended up getting up someone's and turning their garden tap on. You know, but I was like, you know, I just thought, well, look, I'm going to be fine, you know, and I'll just get some of the, you know, public stuff on the way. But I mean, it's not as, you know, you go out, you can get in the creek when you go through Goats Pass or whatever. But yeah, it's just being prepared, and just training yourself. But I guess you learn from these things, and every time you go for a training run or you do something different, you learn from every experience you have.
That's right. So where are our confidence levels at in regards to coast? How many sleeps have we got to go? Do we know that?
Oh, I think it was about 70. It's about 70, 72 maybe.
70 sleeps. Yeah. So did the heart rate go up at all when we said 72 sleeps?
Yeah. So I think we've been a lot better when we went out in the kayak again, and we had a good couple of days when we went out with Top Sport down in the duo. And we had a couple of panic attacks here, didn't we, Tomo? Yeah. But
smiling away.
Yeah, but no, it's good. So we were going out. I think that's like our biggest weakness is the kayak, you know, and we just got to get more confident in that. And we've had some good times. We didn't actually go swimming too much on our last round, did we? So yeah, that, and then we just got to get out more on the road bike and back into running. But to be honest, it's been quite hard as we've both been busy, and it's obviously a social time of year, and then like the gym's been busy as well. And we've got lots of classes going on outside of our normal class and events and that too. So trying to actually fit your training, and like, to be honest, this week's been quite tough. I've been struggling to get all my training program in at the moment, but other weeks have been awesome, and I've managed to get it all in, you know. So I know it's going to be times where I'm going to be fighting a busy schedule, and Tomo's the same, but we know when we can get time to make sure we're just getting quality. It might not be the big longer trainings that we're hoping for, but making sure we're just still getting out there and getting some quality trainings in a short amount of time.
Yeah, and it's about not getting concerned about if you've got a week that you missed some training, you know, some bits in your training block there. It's about not getting concerned about that, Rick. About it's okay. I you know, I do have a life, and I do work, and I do all those things, and I'm not a pro athlete. So it's about not beating yourself up about missing the odd session here or whatever each week, and just making sure, like you say, when you do go out, that you do make it count. We talk about 72 sleeps to go. Just FYI, Matt, not sleeping doesn't actually prolong the start. It doesn't actually age you there. But are you getting some quality sleep though? Are your 72 sleeps you need to make each one count? How are you going for sleeping?
Good, eh? Yeah, real good. I sleep well now. I tell you, I just sleep almost standing up some days. But I'm like a horse. But I'm shattered. I come home and we're buggered after a big day. And I think like when we have the weekends where we don't have as many classes on at the gym, and Tomo's not doing hockey and stuff now, even if we're not training together, we're getting some big, you know, 4, 5, 6 hour, you know, bouts in and doing our own stuff here and there. You just come home and you're shattered, you know. But we've had a couple of good bikes out, and then we'll go to a morning class at the gym on a Saturday morning, and do our own stuff in the afternoon, and that's been awesome. And yeah, doing that stuff, it's just, and I think, like I said, like learning, and I know obviously it's like we're going from not like a multi-sport background as such, so we're coming in from a different sort of element. So having like different injuries and niggles, it's learning to deal with that, knowing that if I'm going to try and focus on the multi-sport stuff, that I might have to pull back from some of the stuff at the gym and have to adjust, you know. And it's quite hard to do that, but I know that I want to come in ready to race for the coast to coast, as opposed to showing up and, you know, covered in strapping tape and someone piggybacking me.
Well, you've still got a few days. You've still got a few days to sort that out yet before the coach comes. So, Matt, Tomo, thank you for joining us, Tomo. That was a little treat. But it's a good update, team, on where you guys are at, and we just cannot wait to. Well, actually, it's going to be after Christmas, isn't it?
That's going to be January. So we'll see how you guys have got on. Hopefully, you've got down the river by that stage, and have a fantastic Christmas. Be safe, and all the best for all the adventures you got lined up.
Perfect. Hey, thanks for having us.
No worries.
Well done, team. Thank you.
See ya.
Okay. Thanks. See ya.
Good work. Job done.
Well, that's great. What a good show.
Just like that. Works quite well
We
together.
may just need to push the camera back a little bit there, Richard, but you've got quite good control of this desk.
I haven't pushed any buttons. I'm just trying to make sure I don't break anything. So, no, good work.
Look,
Well done.
Absolutely fabulous. Another excellent Kathmandu Coast to Coast show here, Richard. As of always, first of the month as we lead up into the Coast to Coast. So don't forget, people, you can watch this over on our YouTube channel. You can watch it back on the Coast to Coast Facebook page, on the Team CP Facebook page. If you've got any questions about nutrition, about the Coast to Coast, about training, about anything, don't be afraid to get a hold of us at Team CP.
That's right. Just book a call, flick an email through, and I'll give you a buzz and just have a bit of a chat. I think that's the key thing. And from my perspective, the more we prepare, the more we learn, the more we know, the better our weekend's going to be, the more we're going to enjoy it.
Yep. So from Tom and Jerry, Batman and Robin, I don't know. Here we are. Two little peas in the pod. Richard, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you to Kathmandu. Thank you for Team CP for helping us put this broadcast together. To Abby, to Hannah, and to Matt and Tomo, thank you very much for joining us. Till next time.
Yep, over and out. And just as a final comment, if you're only listening to this, we're actually sitting next to one another. That's what we're talking about.
Of course, because it's always available on a podcast. It's there forever. So don't forget to give it a listen once or twice or even 3 times.
Brilliant. Well done. Thanks, Steve.
Till next time.
It's the best Kiwi event in New Zealand, this.
Crossing New Zealand in 1 or 2 days.
Why do I do it? Because I love it.
3, 2,